Hi everyone, today we will be talking about lesson 2, art appreciation, creativity, imagination, and expression. Let's start with this idea. Not everything beautiful is considered art. For example, a sunset or a mountain may look amazing, but they are not art because they are not made by humans. Art is something that comes from human creativity, imagination, and expression. Even if we take a photo or draw a picture of nature, it's still just a copy of what we see. What makes art special is how an artist takes inspiration from the world and adds their own unique ideas to create something new. Art appreciation as a way of life. Art also teaches us to see beauty in new ways. Jean-Paul Sartre, a famous philosopher, said that art shows the world from a fresh perspective. Every piece of art reflects what the artist sees and feels, but not everyone notices this. That's why learning to appreciate art is important. It helps us understand the meaning behind an artwork and recognize its beauty. By appreciating art, we also learn to make better choices, whether it's choosing something for our home or enjoying an experience that adds value to our lives. Visiting museums, art galleries, or even free exhibits is a great way to develop this appreciation. It can make our lives richer and more meaningful. If you understand why learning to appreciate art is important, how does it help us to see the world differently and improve the way we make choices in our daily lives? The role of creativity in art making. Now, let's talk about creativity in art. Creativity is about thinking outside the box. It what makes one artwork different from another. A creative artist doesn't just copy someone else's work or imitate nature. Instead, they create something original and put their own personal touch into it. However, being a creative can sometimes be challenging. For example, the famous slogan, "It's more fun in the Philippines," became popular in 2011. But later, people discovered that it was very similar to Switzerland slogan, "It's more fun in Switzerland," used way back in 1951. This shows how important it is to research and make sure your idea is truly original to avoid problems. In art, creativity is not just about making something new. It's about making something that reflects your own ideas and emotion. Art as a product of imagination. Imagination as a product of art. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." He believed that while knowledge is limited to what we already know, imagination goes beyond and helps us see endless possibilities. For artists, imagination is like a gallery in their mind. They create things that don't need to exist in real life. They can come entirely from their imagination. For example, a musician can think a new tone in their head. At first, it's just imaginary, but when they hum it, play it, or write it down, it becomes art. Even the spaces around us are often filled with art to inspire creativity. Think about a coffee shop or a library with beautiful paintings or sculpture. These pieces make the space more enjoyable and reflect our deep desire to surround ourselves with beauty. This desire goes back to ancient times when our ancestors painted on cave walls or carved intricate designs on burial jars. For them, art was not a just functional, it brought joy and meaning to their lives. So, my questions: how does imagination contribute to the creation of art? And why do you think people have always wanted to surround themselves with beautiful things, both in the past and today? Art as an expression of emotion content. Art is also a powerful way to express emotions. According to the philosopher Robin George Collingwood, artists don't just describe emotions like anger or sadness, they express them in a unique way. When an artist expresses their feelings, they create something personal and original. It's not just a copy of what outside, but a reflection of their inner self. During the Romantic movement, this idea of expressing emotion became very important. Artworks were created to evoke strong feelings like awe or drama in the audience. Even today, artists aim to connect with their viewers emotionally. There is no one right way to express emotion through art. Each artist uses their own style and techniques to share what they feel, and that's what makes art so special and personal.
Okay, so now we're going to explore the two fundamental subject of art, which is the representational and non-representational art. So these categories highlight how artists communicate ideas, emotions, and stories through different approaches. So you'll better understand these styles and hopefully form your own opinions about them. So first, let's talk about representational art, which is also known as objective or figurative art. So this type of art represents objects, events, or scenes from real world in a way that is recognizable. So when you look at a representational piece, you can tell exactly what the art is showing. So like in this example, the famous Mona Lisa. So here we can clearly see a person, her posture, her facial expression, and even some details of the background. So this is the essence of representational art. It's meant to mirror reality. So whether it's a landscape, a portrait, or a historical event, this art style tells us that this is something that exists and here's how the artist see it. So representational art has existed for centuries. So think about cave paintings created thousands of years ago. So those were representational because early humans drew animals, hunting scenes, and everyday life because they wanted to capture reality and preserve it. So over time, artists became more skilled at capturing details like light, shadow, and perspective, making their works even more lifelike. And then now let's shift to something completely different, the non-representational or non-objective art. So look at this image. So does this artwork remind you of anything specific in real life? Because this picture doesn't try to look like anything from reality. Instead, it focuses on abstract elements like shapes, lines, colors, and textures. So this type of art is not about depicting objects or events. It's about creating an experience. So for example, the painting here is more about how the color and patterns make you feel than about what they mean. So this style of art became popular in 20th century with movements like abstract expressionism. Artists like Jackson Pollock and Wassily Kandinsky believed that this art didn't have to represent the physical world. Instead, they wanted their art to explore emotions, energy, and the subconscious mind. So, for instance, some famous drip paintings don't look like anything we recognize, but they're full of emotion, chaos, and rhythm. So, on the other hand, sometimes artists believe that colors and shapes could represent emotions, almost like music for the eyes. So, how do you feel when you look at non representational art? Does it excite you, or confuse you, or inspire you? And why do you think some artists prefer abstract or non representational styles over realistic ones? So, non representational art is like a conversation between the artist and the viewer. It doesn't tell you what to think, it gives you space to interpret it however you want. That is the beauty of art. So when we compare the two styles, the representational art is rooted in reality. It's like holding up a mirror to the world. It connects us to familiar objects, people, and places. So on the other hand, the non-representational art breaks free from reality. It's like diving into a world of emotions, imaginations, and creativity. So both styles are valuable in their own way. So representational art helps us document history, culture, and personal stories. So it shows us the world as it is or as the artist sees it. So the non-representational art, on the other hand, challenges us to think differently. It forces us to look beyond the surface and engage with the artwork on a deeper emotional level. So it's not about what you see, but about how you feel. So both representational and non-representational arts have unique roles in a world of creativity. Representational art connects us to the physical world, while non-representational art connects us to emotions and imaginations. Neither is better or worse. It all depends on what speaks to you as a viewer on art. Because art is subjective, which means it's open to interpretation, and that's what makes it so powerful. Every person can see and feel something different when looking at the same piece of art. So the next time you see an artwork, whether it's a realistic landscape or a chaotic splash of colors, you can ask yourself, what is the artist trying to say? And what does this mean to me? That's the beauty of art. It's a conversation without a words.